Doing great. We have our my favorite oranges in season right here in Florida called Sumo oranges. Oh, they're so good. All right, let's talk about big picture. I'm very cautious today and probably, through Wednesday of next week because you've got an outside factor. I know the outcome of the outside factor if it happens. And that outside factor is whether the government will shut down or not. Now, I didn't really believe it was going to shut down until this week, towards the end of, I guess, yesterday or during yesterday, when I saw what happened. I said, what would make that happen? I started looking at it and researching it, and I'm following along on the probabilities, looking at that website I told everybody about, Cauchy.com, because the percentage has gone from 61% to 68. You say, well, but Tom, the market rallied from 66.24 up to 67.03. Didn't get above 05. And my pivot number was 66.63. We've come back down to the pivot number for the day. But I got to tell you, if you're looking at the market right now, it's hard to have any confidence. Another thing that I look at is the leaders. If you look at Palantir, been stuck at 179 or higher, now it's at 176. Google's come down from 250. Nvidia was at 180, now 176. Apple is showing good relative strength. And the Dow, which is the last thing I'd look at for direction, is up 150 points. So it's hard to mix all that together. But when I look at, I guess they're going to sing it again.
In the early light before.
Yeah, I think that was an autoplay, Tom, on someone else's computer. I went ahead and took the screen share. I'm happy to play it, by the way, if you want to play it again. But
we don't need to play it again, but
okay.
But we got to get control of that tune. It's running wild.
Yes.
Anyway, the big point, folks, we're going to look at that chart, and I'll show you what I'm watching, because I can't ignore the fact the experience is probably going to cost me money, because I know what can happen. You saw the way this market dropped from 67.05 down to 66.66. That's hard to react to. And because of that, I just back away and I always say patience will pay. This is one of those stages where I'm not going to do a lot of trading until we either see some movement or we get past this date. And once they announce it, then we got the direction. We'll take advantage of it. But you got to get this out of the way, I think, to be safe. And I think everybody understands the reason that affects the way I do things is because I follow the S&P futures, and the S&P futures lead the whole market. And so if the S&P futures drop 5%, I don't care how good a stock picker you are or anything else, these stocks come down on that news. That's just the way it works. And so there is risk in trading. There's the website right there. And can you bring that up? Let's just do it. Bring up the Wednesday. Yeah, see, it's moved up to 68%. Everybody see that? %68. This thing gets above 80, then that's an outright sell signal, because if it gets above 80, it doesn't come back. Right now, it could reverse and something could happen, and all of a sudden you see a rally, and that's it. Does everybody understand the significance of what I'm saying? It might be the most important thing I can tell you about, okay? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. Okay. All right, I beat that horse enough. Let's move on. in my opinion. Market's going a lot higher. We just might get an opportunity to get in a lot lower. That's the way I look at it. So we don't want to lose money to go down, hoping it's going to come back up. We want to be a little cautious as we make the transition from September to October. Today, we're going to move to retirement center meeting right at the start of our weekly wrap up at 3, and we'll cover that. And hopefully people will join us. We're doing real well there. We knocked off 2 option plays there for a total of about 40% on the money we put up. So we're doing good there. We'll just keep churning away. If you do join, use the referral from Jonathan Rowe at DTI Trader. We're going to train for that next week. Talking to a couple people who are new to Tasty Trade, we're going to have a special webinar to go through how I use it and maybe show you some insights to using Tasty Trade next week. We'll try to work that into our schedule. Jonathan, you want to cover this for everybody?
Yeah, sure. Of course, we have the weekly trade letter that we put together on Monday afternoons after the close. It's just kind of like a the planning session on, I don't know, steroids, I guess. Get a broad market update from Tom. To start off the weekly trade letter, it's about a two-page letter. You get, if you don't have MTI by DTI, which is our indicator you can put on Thinkorswim, it's a real simple but great bigger picture look at the markets. And we actually post charts from MTI. On the SPY, the QQQ, gold, crude oil, USO, and TLT for bonds. So get a big picture look at the markets there through those charts. And then we give you key news for the week. Key news for the week. So whatever the economic news is for the week, whether it be GDP and PC like it was this week, or maybe it's a Fed week. We won't have a Fed week until early October, I believe, or late October, excuse me. Whatever the key news is that week, we've got it listed there for you. And before long, earnings season will start back up again. Whenever the banks kick things off in October, we'll include key earnings for the week. And then you get Tom's Magic 5 stocks and Tom's special opportunity of the week, which essentially is you're getting those stocks with trigger numbers where Tom's thinking about getting in, and then targets and ABO levels to keep your money protected if the trade does not do what we expect it to do. Always an important part of the process there. All right. Jennifer, the MTI indicators, you can get, you should be able to get them on the member site yourself as a gold member, but they're at Market Timing Indicator if you're part of the program on the One-Click Trading membership site. But the weekly trade letter here that's released Monday after the close, that's only $9.99 for the full year. And you can get that at dtitrader.com/weekly. Or like always, you can give us a call if you'd rather talk to us, 904-706-3532. And Tom, I think the next page is our stocks for September.
Oh, great. Let's go through that. That'd be interesting to look at. Remember, it's been solid green until we got to Wednesday of this week.
That's right. We started getting some more reds peppered in. Let's update it. It's September 26th at about 11:13 Eastern. Okay, so S&P and the NASDAQ are still long. Just for more clarity, the S&P is at 66.63. The 3-day high from September was at 65.16, and the month open was at 64.78, while the 3-day low was at 63.71. So below 63,
Yeah.
Trying to remember what the low of the week was, Tom.
64, 60, it was 66.24.
So below 63, you got the 24 low of the week. Then you got down to 65.16, the high for the first 3 days. And then the month opened 64.78. All right. Now we got a couple red stocks here. Amazon is red, meaning it's below its low from the first 3 trade days of September.
What has Amazon just done recently? They paid $1 billion for a fine. I saw that today. Amazon has been out of character, if you look at it, and been a little weak, and so that's sort of interesting, I think. Okay.
The spreadsheet, by the way, is on slide number 8 of today's slides that I just posted to the chat. What else is short here, Tom? We got Gilead Sciences.
Mm-hmm.
Berkshire is no longer short as we come to a close here in September or pretty soon. ETH and IBIT are short. Now, it makes sense that YETH is short and Amazon is short. Those are based on the ETH or Ethereum and also Amazon. And then COIW is based on Coinbase. Overall, still the majority of the stocks are long, but we do have, every day that the market's pulled back here, we get, peppering more reds.
If you get a sell-off down to the monthly open on the S&P, which would be 64.78, you will see this sheet. About half of them will go into the red zone, and so you got to, if you project out and you say, okay, are we making new highs? Or are we making new lows? Okay, and so looking at new highs and new lows, you got to say yesterday we made a new low. Really wiped out a lot of stuff when we had a real good pattern. I think it was 79, 83, 87 was the low coming into the week. Now we tore that out and we went down to 66.24. So if the market tests 66.24, then I think you're it's going to be very interesting this afternoon. So you better stay tuned. The way I look at it. Okay.
And you'll be back this afternoon, Tom, at 3 p.m.
Yeah, I will be back at 3. So there you go. Any questions about our tickers as we finish out the month of September? Now remember, any trades that we do in here will be tracked through our T-Buzz Talk and Trade. And go to dtitrader.com/TN2. Today's focus, how to use the DTI predictor inside the roadmap to set targets on 5 stocks for October. The roadmap predictor. It's a feature inside the roadmap, and it answers this question: if you wonder how far a stock can move over a certain time period, it does it based on expiration dates. It takes options and calculates the logical conclusion of what you're trying to do. And the beautiful thing about it is unbiased. It'll tell you if it's going up or going down.
And Tom, I listed a few examples for today's presentation where we can update and add 2 more, or we can take one of these out and add others in.
No, these are fine. Why don't you go through these?
So I've already grabbed Tesla, Apple, and QQQ. For Tesla, the predictor is telling us, and let me just explain this real quick. Tom's already said it, but the predictor takes the options market and goes and finds what the market makers, the options are implying in terms of potential moves higher or potential moves lower, and it's all based on the option prices. For Tesla, this goes out to October 17th. The options are implying the stock can move up to around 472 or down to 373. So if the market goes back up, target on Tesla by October 17th will be 472. If the market goes down, target will be 373. And that's what the options are implying right now. Is any questions on that? Predictor gives us a nice little graph here. The month open, or the MO over to the left is the monthly open. This 43.77% is if the stock did go up to 471.90, that would be a 43% move above the month open. Or if it did fall back down to 373, it would be 13.67%, still above the month open, right? But it would that's pretty eye-opening for Tesla's month
That's had a heck of a month when you think about Tesla.
Yep.
By the way, MO, Neil, is month open.
All right, let's look at Apple. Here's what the options are saying about Apple. It opened the month at 229.25. The options imply it could move up to 270 by middle of next month, October 17th.
Yeah, he's got that forecasted. So basically, those are pretty good numbers, I think, for Apple, if you think about it, especially if you can, you get that kind of run.
Yeah, the predictor is all about where potential support and resistance based on how the options are priced. 270 high, 245 low for Apple here, October 17th.
Basically, if Apple stays on an uptrend, it's going to rise 17% up to that 270.13.
Right.
Pretty good risk reward on an Apple once we get past this cloud that's over the market right now.
Yep. And that would be 17% above the September monthly open. Now the numbers in the middle here, those are a little bit less useful, but good to know, I guess. That's the point differential between the top and bottom number and the percentage differential. So the spread between the predicted high or predicted low, depending on which way the market goes, is 10%. There's 25 points or 10% distance between those two numbers there. That's all that is there, Donna. So that's Tesla, that's Apple.
Y'all is everybody starting to appreciate why I say you got to have this roadmap software and learn all the features and stuff, and why people that have it end up doing a lot better than people that don't have it? It's got features for any type market that we go into. And it's been a work in progress all these years, which makes us feel pretty good when we're sitting here, doing our thing.
That's right. Let's say you wanted to be long the QQQ, but you had no idea where your potential target could be. Right? That predictor comes in and tells you, all right, by October 17th, if this market goes back up, the options are implying the QQQ could make it to 615. Or if the market falls, the options are implying it could fall to 570. That's all useful information when you're trying to design your.
For example, let me tell you what happens. If the government shut down, okay, the government shut down, look at that 7% from the high down to the low. That 570 down there could be in play if the government shut down. Because Jonathan, didn't you tell me it was 5 to 7% is the historical deal?
Yeah, the last time the government shut down, the S&P 500 at least dropped 7% in the week leading up to the shutdown. We studied that yesterday in the training trade from yesterday.
So we're down about 1.5% if you take 5 days.
Right.
And so what would that be? 5.5% from here? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That gives everybody an idea the potential And you say, okay, well, how are you going to know if the government shuts down? You don't, because sometimes in the past, they've waited to midnight of Tuesday, or in this case, the last day, and you get an announcement saying, and the S&P is already up 30 or 40 points when they do it, but you get an announcement saying they put a deal together. Okay, that's what you're waiting on. But here's what I've noticed a little different, Jonathan. I'll tell people just from experience. There doesn't seem to be a lot of chatter between the senators, and that's where it rests right now inside the Senate. So they got to have 60 votes, which means they got to have 6 Democrats step up and say, I'm not going to vote with Schumer, I'm going to vote to keep the government up. Now, if you're a Democrat and a senator in a state that's sort of mixed, maybe a Virginia or New Jersey like that, maybe, you're probably going to vote where you stay elected, and you'll break ranks on a situation like that. I think that's the way it'll work out. We'll see. They're going to call a vote at some point. I don't know when they're going to do it, but that's going to be a real interesting, uncertain period whenever we hear they're calling the vote. Deborah, we got out of that 99, 98 and a half that expires today. We got out of it. Jonathan, you posted to get out of that, right?
Yeah, there's no TQQQ trades open as of right now.
We don't have any TQQs. If you got it, I'd get out. Don said last year they're going to vote on it Monday. Okay. Well,
All right.
we will see.
So Tom, we have 3 stocks here. Do you want to give us 2 more? We'll go to the live market and pick out 2 more for the predictor.
So you want to do it live?
Well, we promised them 5 stocks, and
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you go to the roadmap and let's just do one live and show people the steps to do this. Great chance to do that.
Sounds good. Under tables of the roadmap software,
You got to show us the tables.
Is my screen not sharing? Yeah, you should see my roadmap now, Tom.
We
Under
do.
tables, there's predictor. What stock you want to look at, Tom?
Let's see. Let's look at the TQQ. That'd be a fun one to look at.
Okay, TQQQ. Now you can name it whatever you want. I'm just making it easy to name it TQQQ. Still have to right click on the feature and add symbols. And we'll click on that.
In caps, right?
TQQQ. I think it's in all caps. Rush, I mean, to be clear, some features require, some features don't. Why don't you just always type in all caps when you're using roadmap and you'll be good.
That's what I do.
All right, it takes a moment for it to search for the data, and you can see on I didn't show you this from the slides, but the option tab of the feature gives you the next 5 expirations it can pull, and then the options implied support and resistance for each of those dates. Now, if I click on the predictor tab, we get to see that graph. So I'm going to take a snapshot of this and include it on the slides. October 17th, 111 is the top end number and 88 is the bottom end number for October 17th, TQQQ.
And you're looking for another stock, do KGC.
All right, let's do some KGC, some gold. I'm going to close that down and go back to predictor. This is how I prefer to use the feature. It tends to work better if you do one symbol at a time in my experience with it. I'll name it KGC. I'll right click on it, add symbol KGC. look okay. Give it some time to think. And it is a little bit quicker with the thinking process if it's just one symbol at a time. We got the next 5 weeks, and I'll toggle it to the predictor tab so we can see the nice little graph for October 17th. It's got a 25.40 high and a 21.60 low for KGC, October 17th.
And I would speculate that we'll see that 25 number before we see the 21.
All right, let me take the snapshot of this one. Add it to the slides.
I like that stock. I own it in my IRA, and every time I look at it, it's up a little bit higher from the last time I looked at it. I don't look at it every day, but it just trucks along. I forget how low it was when I first bought it, but it participates if gold goes higher, that's for sure. Not a lot of pain and suffering along the way either. That's what I like about it.
Well, I know you've been pyramiding into that because the last time I spoke to you about the stock, you said you just added some more. So
I did.
any questions on the predictor here, right? Any questions on the predictor? Great feature of the roadmap. One of
What we tried to do, folks, is go inside some of these great features just to give you an idea of what you got sitting on your laptop or computer, and you're probably not using.
So that was the predictor. Now we've been every day of the training trade, we've been kind of focusing on one feature of the roadmap. We've done probably 7 features, but 7 of, I mean, really maybe probably 100 different features of this roadmap software. We're only dipping our toes into what the roadmap can do. So if
Let
you
me
like,
ask the question. Give us some feedback, okay? Knowing what you know now, would you have bought the roadmap when you first got involved with DTI, or would you have waited as long as you did to buy it, knowing what you did now? Polly says, I own it, love it, and would buy it, definitely buy it. John says, I bought it as soon as I could. Yeah, guys, I cannot trade without it personally. Okay. And John, where is it? They go to YouTube to find the sessions?
these training trade sessions, yes, they are on the YouTube channel, dtitrader.com/YouTube. And
Okay.
for any session, Frank, any session that's live, which most of the sessions nowadays are live, there's an actual live tab on the channel. You'll see a videos tab, which is for the videos that Tom and I do kind of offline, and we just upload it. And then there's a live tab where all the live session recordings are stored. So look at that live tab at dtitrader.com/YouTube. You'll find all the training trade sessions. There's a great note from Kevin, Tom.
1,300 would definitely buy you a few roadmaps. Way to go. By the way, I'm looking for a lot higher prices after we get past this little bump in the road, okay?
Yep, that's the second time you said that today, so I know it's top of mind there for you. You said got to stay cautious, right? Don't get ahead of ourselves, but are looking for higher prices.
I am looking for higher prices.
Now, Tom, and we don't have too much time until 12. We got to turn around and do session 2 of the Red Cup Playbook, and that's at noon. Now, we've already held session 1, but we got it on recording, a good recording of Tom and Chuck talking about the topics we cover and also just some market chatter back and forth. A great session. And today at 12 and less than 30 minutes is session number 2. So we'll record session number 2 today as well. If you're not part of the program, you can still join and get a lot of value out of being there today at 12 in just a little while's time. Got just a couple sides here, Tom, if you want to talk through what this T-Buzz rate cut playbook is all about.
Folks, if you've been with me very long, you know that I'm going to look ahead out into the futures and start identifying where the money's going to be. And this is where the money's going to be when the cycle we're on of cutting interest rates. Even if he doesn't do what he said he's going to do by cutting a quarter the rest of this year, the odds of him cutting more happens because the makeup of his board changes. And if the makeup of his board changes, you know, you're able to really, if the makeup of the board changes, then he's not going to have a choice but be more aggressive. And that's going to happen, you know, while we wait to see it happen, if that makes any sense. And so I keep talking about it, but we got to have a plan. You can't wait till it happens. And we did this pretty good with everybody. We did the first part on Wednesday, and then we turned around and we got the rest of it today. We have it in the can where you can review it over the weekend. That's one reason we chose today. And that's why I believe for this amount of money, you get a lot of value. Now, you know, your goals are manage your assets. This is like continual education in this book. That's the way I look at it. Module 1's in the can. Stocks outperform after a rate cut. We went through that. We started with the sectors and then filtered down for strength. Showing you how to build a watch list in that area. How to trade the Fed meeting with 3 different phases of trading the Fed. I guess, I don't know if I ever met anybody in this business that's traded it for 20 plus years live like I did to learn what I did. So you get special insights just in this module, unless you want to wait another 20 years to learn what I did. Pretty good stuff. Now, dividends. This is where I'm a real believer in these weekly payers, and I've devised a system that we can follow on that sheet that shows us when to be long and when to be out. But the beautiful thing about this is you get paid every week. You gotta love that. Now, once you get in here, I told John, if we put it together, this part of the book, which is probably tremendous value, is how to rotate and review each month. And then you add in the 8 Fed meetings we're going to have, where to adapt, depending on what they do. They actually cut the price over half because we felt like it was that important since the rate cut had started, and we wanted to get people up to speed as we go into October, November, December, which is tremendous months. So if you want to sign up, you'll have to watch the recording, and then we'll be live at 12, right, Jonathan, at 12? And then sometime in the future, near future, we'll have a kickoff live class for everybody. Okay, that's not even in here, but I decided to do that. Jonathan reminded me in the future when the time's right that we do have that live class for everybody, okay?
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Now, the 12 p.m. session for the Rip Cut Playbook is in a different Zoom room.
Okay.
I'll leave this room open for 5 to 6 minutes. Make sure folks can join.
Okay.
Now the invites are already out. If you do join,
Yeah, if you're gonna
ask you
join not in
to-
our list, be sure to type in there, I'm joining now, where Josh can capture your name, make sure you get the invitation.
Yeah, and say that's totally fine. And if you happen to join after we close the room and don't think we got your email, just shoot me an email at Row@DTI Trader, and I'll do my best to get those invites out to everybody before we kick this thing off at noon Eastern time.
And Jonathan, after you get ready, before we leave, let's go to, since we're at Genesis, let's go talk about that. I want to go to a live market maybe in 2 minutes and show them where we currently stand in this market based on Genesis. Lisa says she's going to join, so look for her name, make sure she gets the invitation.
Thank you, Lisa. I'll get your invite over to you as soon as I can here. We got a lot going on.
That's the way I like it. No room for standing around, right, gang? I think people found out at that class, we don't stand around much. Everybody that was at that class agreed to come back for other classes. Make sure that you ring the bell on that deal I made, because I think that slots are diminishing as we finish out this year. And just make sure you ring the bell today. You know who you are. That's Dave and other people. I can say Dave, and I get 2 people because they had 2 Daves. I got 2 Johns. So I talked to Patricia this morning. I went over to the hotel and met with her this morning. She's going to be headed to the airport stuff, but I got everybody covered, I think. Make sure they take what I did. Gwen just joined. Get her email, and that makes it easy. Jennifer, I haven't set the class. I'm going to do a class in January. Let me look at my calendar real quick, and you'll be the first to know when it's going to be in January, and you can have a slot in the first class that I'm doing. I gotta look at my phone because my calendar needs to be updated. Okay, January. Oh, the first class will be January 12th and 13th. Jonathan, make sure that Kelly knows that, and Jeffrey and Kareem know that. That'll be the first class in January, the 12th and the 13th of January. That's the first class next year. I won't have another one to March, so if you want to come, that's the one you want to get to. Talk to Barbara at DTI Trader, talk to Andraka at DTI Trader, and you can Miles, January 12th and 13th. That's a great 2 days in January after the first week. You'll be the first ones to find out whether we're going up or down for the year. I'll put my record intact on January the 12th. How much is that going to be worth to everybody? You think I'm kidding? Every year for the last 5 years, my prediction is for the year is held up. And they really loved me back in 2022 when I told everybody, get short this year, you're going down. Remember that, Jonathan? I had everybody short and everybody else was buying the market. 2022.
I do remember you having everybody get short.
Yep.
For that. Gwen, I still don't have your email if you want to post that for me. There's today's slides from today's training trade. As a reminder, T-Buzz Rate Cut Playbook. Sign up at dtxtrader.com/cut. $199.
I tell you what, if it is Martin Luther King birthday on the 12th and 13th, we'll bump it down to the 19th and 20th, but we'll let you know today, because if it is Martin Luther King birthday on the 12th and 13th, we'll bump it down to the 19th and 20th. There's so many holidays, you got to look at the holiday schedule. Thanks, Morris.
Yeah, that is, hang on, Monday, January the 19th is MLK Day. So we're fine.
There you go. You messed me up, Morris. Why are you messing with me, Morris?
Okay.
12th and 13th is good.
Okay, Gwen.
It's actually the first full week of trading, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's the first full week of trading, I think. Anyway.
Is that a futures class time?
Huh?
Is
Yeah,
that a futures
class. I'm calling it Futures Plus because one of my students pulled me aside and said, Tom, I learned so much about futures, but I like the way you traded everything else too. So I'm calling it Futures Plus in the future. I mean, I like making money while I'm sitting there. Don't you, Jennifer? She was at the class. Miles was at the class. All right, let's go live. Everybody's had a chance to join, Jonathan. Let's go live to a market. I want to show you about Genesis right here. All right, well, that's sort of that's a different one there. If you look at it, what's the high of Genesis right now?
Looks like 66.79, Tom.
The low of that green bar next to it?
66.58.
Okay, I'd draw a line at 66.58. If it breaks that, it's going to challenge the low and probably take that out and go down. If it breaks the high, it's going to go up and challenge that resistance up there at 95 to 05. That's the way I read Genesis right now. This is not as clear as it is most days, but that's the way it looks to me. All right, Jonathan, that's all I got. We got to go teach the playbook.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it. Be there at 3. If you're not in the playbook class, we'll have something interesting to talk about, I'm sure.